Another commentary channel. Fraud alert. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the classic scams that have gone down. Now, this list is from the mid-80s to about 2003. These are just some of your classic stock market fraud. They said it was a this and it's not kind of thing. I'm going to be leaving out Ponzi and Madoff. I would think that everybody on the planet knows about both of them. In 1986, this guy, Barry Minkow, first of all, owned a company that I can't even say. I'm going to say something and you'd be like, what? And then I have to explain what it is. Watch. Watch, are you ready? The company's name was Quadruple Z Best. And no, it's not the word quadruple and Z. It's 4 Z's, 4 capital Z's, and then the word best. And people, they invested in this. Barry Minkow and his terribly named company made claims to be the General Motors of carpet cleaning. And while Minkow appeared to be building an empire, he was doing so on fraud, fraudulent checks, fraudulent books. Barry Minkow. So it appears as though his business was designed by him to be fraudulent from the start. This wasn't something where he got in over his head. The company went public in 1986. They had a market cap of 200 million, more than 200 million, I'm assuming at a peak because it collapsed. And Barry Minkow was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Centennial Technologies. 1996, Emmanuel Piñez, the CEO of Centennial Technologies, December of 1996, gross revenue of $2 million from the sale of PC memory cards. But it turns out that he wasn't sending the people PC memory cards, he was sending them fruit baskets. Oh, I guess that these people weren't even buying the fruit baskets. They were just using those shipping events or tracking numbers to create fraudulent sales records. Right, so I guess the accountants were just writing in whatever they wanted for this shipment that they have proof of. It's actually terrible and you're stupid. That's a terrible idea and it's so petty. It's just so petty. Their stock mooned hard and it went up 450%. So they ended up harming a lot of people terribly. When the SEC investigated these guys, it turns out they were doing things like one period of time they had a loss of $28 million, but they recorded that as a profit of $12 million just because they just recorded it like that. Insane. Totally insane. The stock ended up crashing from $55.50 to less than $3. Over 20,000 investors lost everything, near everything. This CEO, Piñez, he was found guilty and it doesn't say when he was sentenced to. Who cares? He's screwed. 5 counts of securities fraud, insider trading, booking bogus books. BRIX Minerals. This Canadian company was involved in one of the largest stock hoo-has that ever happened. They had a site in Indonesia and they said it was ultra concentrated with gold, and they just told people that and everybody was just like, cool, perfect. But it turns out that that wasn't the case, and guess what, their stock, here's exactly what happened. It's just like the other stories that I'm telling you right now. I guess this is the same thing when there's corporate fraud. They lie about the money or the resources they have. So BRIX Minerals in 1997, they said they had about 200 million ounces of gold in their land. But obviously that was not true. That would make them the richest gold mine in the world. The stock price skyrocketed to almost $300, $280, but on March 19th, 1997, the party ended. It was revealed that they're dumb, stupid liars who are terrible, and they're idiots. And then their stock price plunged, big surprise, and I'm assuming, based on what I'm seeing here, that this company immediately went insolvent. So, I mean, it looks like everybody lost everything. They're saying pension funds are losing almost 100 million. That's Ontario, though. I mean, do we concern ourselves with Ontario? Look, I'm sorry. Enron. Who could forget Enron? Everybody loves Enron. I remember I used to drive by in Oxnard, California, an Enron building on the freeway. And I would always ask my parents, hey, what's Enron? This is before this happened. Okay? And I remember my parents just had very just lukewarm responses. It's just some piece of shit, who knows? You know, they just didn't know. Nobody cared. Enron, they introduced futures trading on the weather. Okay? That's actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, man. That's like, So, in a nutshell, as I recall, I read this Enron story freshly maybe 6 months ago, and I just want to give it to you in that uncomplicated. Enron, they would take on liability, i.e. debt, and then they would say that they were assets, not liabilities. Insane. Totally insane. So imagine you go $100,000 into debt, but you tell investors, auditors, and then fool them somehow that you just made $100,000. They would, for example, go into debt for $1 million, and then they would write on their books that this $1 million debt is actually $1 million asset. Okay? What? Terrible, Enron. That is so dumb. I hate you so much, Enron. Except for the futures on the weather, dude. That was cool. Bring that back. Their stock fell from $90 to 30 cents. Bum, bum, bum. Auditors that worked in-house for Enron. Wow, what a shock. They were corrupt. So they were being audited by themselves. Terrible. That's so dumb. How can you do that? How is that possible? So next we have WorldComm, 1 year after Enron. It sounds identical to Enron. I'm going to tell you it straight. They're cooking the books. Next. Okay, dude. Oh, now I look stupid. God, Enron did me dirty. This company, WorldComm, they were recording operating expenses as investments. Things like pens, pencils, paper were all an investment in the future of the company. And so they expensed this. Look, dude, I'm not a corporate tax lawyer. I'm just trying to bring it's a list, okay? It's a list. So this next one happened the same year as WorldComm. Tyco International, they discreetly sold off stock in the form of it was disguised from the public when it happened. 7.5 million shares of Tyco stock were sold in a backdoor arrangement. The goings on, nobody knew. They smuggled shares out of their own company via executive bonuses. There you go. Okay, the executives got 25 years. The share price is down 80%. Can we get to the next one, please? Health South. Richard Scrushy was instructing his Health South employees to inflate their numbers. So the first thing that Scrushy did wrong, the first thing that this guy did wrong was be a fraudster in the first place by manipulating the data in an erroneous way. So he's a fraudster. But the fraud did not stop in private. He just had to make it public. He had to do something really obvious and dumb. So what did he do? Before he released terrible news for the company, he sold $75 million worth of shares. That's just not obvious at all, dude. Come on. This guy needs to be on the dumb criminals list. This guy's an idiot. The Health South guy is a total idiot. I want to end with that. I thought there was another one, but it's not. It's Bernie Madoff. And I already said I'm not going to talk about Bernie Madoff, okay? You have a great whatever time it is at your house.